Sorry, what is wind shear and how does that affect hurricanes?
So wind shear is when winds at the low levels of the atmosphere and winds at the upper levels of the atmosphere are not in sync.
Okay.
So it can either be, one is blowing east and one's blowing west, or they could both be blowing west, but one's really quick. So it's something like if you imagine a hurricane as being some upright thing, some tube, you don't want to knock it over. So you want everything to be, if you're going to push that tube with your hands, you want to apply equal pressure to the top and the bottom so it doesn't fall over. That's kind of a way to think of wind shear. They like to remain upright.
And you said that wind shear, the difference between the different levels increases during which months?
Usually, so during the peak of the season, let me go in reverse. It is the peak of the season because that is generally when there's less
Gotcha.
wind shear. And that's part of why it is when it is. And then there's actually another ingredient. A lot of our strongest hurricanes in the Atlantic come from waves off of the African coast. And by a wave, I don't mean like a wave in the ocean, but it's actually a wave in the air. It's kind of a pre-depression. We have a weak depression, which becomes a tropical storm. Well, before it's even a depression, it's this thing called a wave. And these come off of the coast of Africa, every 3 or 5 days or so, all during the peak of hurricane season. Excuse me. And so those are most, that's when they're most active, sorry. Okay. So that's,
so several different factors together.
That's again why the peak of the season is when it is, because that's when those waves are the most active.
Gotcha.